Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Magic Mics, proudly sponsored by CoolStuffInc.com, CardHoarder.com, Alter Sleeves, as well as Twitch subscribers and Patreon supporters just like you. I am Evan Erwin, and we get started each week by saying hello to my two co-hosts, MTG Nerd Girl.
Hey, guys.
Ruben Bressler.
Hey, can I interest you in some non-fungible tokens?
Lord, no. Get that away from here, y'all. Look, if you missed our pre-show where we talk about some of that stuff, subscribers to this channel get access to our NSFW version early, and we kick it off with our first pick in our giveaway. Get your chance at $50 worth of anything at CoolStuffInc.com by typing exclamation mark raffle in the chat, but subscribe first to get 2 chances to win, and support your favorite streamer with your suggestions at the end of the show to see who we raid tonight. And that, of course, is thanks to our sponsor, CoolStuffInc.com, where you can find cool stuff in stock every day. And we bring it to our first pick. Our first pick is easily not close. The banned and restricted announcement for Pauper. As of tomorrow morning, the 3 cards, these are 3 cards going to be banned from Pauper. Atog, hello.
Yep.
Bonder's Ornament, which I'll tell you what that is in a second, and Prophetic Prism. So let's go. First of all, for those who don't know, Atog is a red and a generic mana for a 1/2 that says sacrifice an artifact, it gets +2/+2 until end of turn. Bonder's Ornament came from Commander, of all things. It's a 3 generic mana common artifact that says tap to add 1 mana of any color, or 4 generic mana tap : each player who controls a permanent named Bonder's Ornament draws a card. And of course, that was meant to be in a multiplayer environment, but the Tron decks went nuts. And Prophetic Prism has been here for years. Don't call it a comeback. It's 2 generic mana for a common artifact. When it enters the battlefield, you draw a card, and 1 generic mana tap : add 1 mana of any color. These were meant to hurt the Affinity decks and all of their flavors, and the Tron decks and all of their flavors. So yeah.
The discussion around Atog was actually super interesting. If we have the Maverick Girl in the chat, I would love to hear her input on this. But the new Pauper committee decided that Affinity was putting up numbers that were outsized and something needed to go, and they looked at several options, and the top 2 appeared to be Disciple of the Vault and Atog. And as they sort of cut it and sliced it, it seemed like they couldn't get around the fact that Atog was the major problem with the deck. And so, this card that's been around forever. I mean, Legends, I think, is when Atog came out. Antiquities.
Yep.
It's a beloved card. It became its own creature type and then birthed a mega cycle of Atogs of various kinds throughout its existence, from Oratog to the Atog cycle from Odyssey of various kinds that included Psychotog, and of course, Atog, to use up all those extra Togs that you have laying around. It's interesting. I mean, it certainly makes sense from their theory crafting standpoint.
Now, I do want to have a special call out for check out this article. Now, part of this is the script that Gavin Verhey uses on his Good Morning Magic show that talks about the 3 Pauper bands, but like this wonderful reasoning, this explanation, you fully understand why. Like, I can't remember getting an explanation as good as this for a standard banning in years. Like, this fully explains why X and not Z. They hope this is where it kind of shapes the format. This is where they hope it goes. They're not promising anything. Like, Tron is still very, very powerful and could still be a problem. Like, they're certainly kind of working around it, Mishra's workshop style, I think. But again, the fact that all of this wonderful discussion has come so quickly, and these bands all make sense, and they're 100% universally loved as far as I can tell across the Magic spectrum. This is great.
Okay, I'm going to jump in because Evan might not let me if I don't force myself here. Couple of things. So it's really cool to see these changes so quickly after having the new panels. Also, I think that we can probably credit this wonderful explanation to those panels. Those are probably the notes they handed to Wizards to make the official banning. And Wizards are like, all right, just like copy pasta, send it on to the website, whatever. So good job, team. Thank you guys for the panel. Secondly, also, Evan, well done. Did you see that browser in dark mode?
Hey, got him. Nice job.
Yeah, but it's an incognito. It's fine.
Well, that's how it works.
There we go.
It was better. It was in dark mode.
It's better for streaming purposes to be in dark mode. That's for sure.
It is better indeed.
Beautiful. Look at that.
Thanks.
The ATOG explanation was very detailed and very thorough. Then they did the thing that I don't love, which is we anticipate this deck will also get way better. Which in this case I'm okay with because Urzatron has always been a problem.
Yeah, it's always been crazy good.
And instead of just banning Urza's Tower, the Urza lands are kind of like Brainstorm for Legacy.
Right.
Where we have this tacit understanding that we're just not going to ban those. So getting rid of the color makers, making the mana worse in those decks of Prophetic Prism and Bonder's Ornament makes sense.
It was a 5-color deck. It was a 5-color Urzatron deck. And with very similar, they said, similar to Arkham's Astrolabe, when you give really easy access for a card that replaces itself that then filters everything from till the end of the game, nothing really matters in terms of color anymore. So again, this was fantastic. The Pauper format panel, I think, did a terrific job, but we ain't done. There are going to be more banned and restricted announcements happening on Tuesday. Wizards Magic today tweeted today's update to the B&R list features changes to the Pauper format. On Tuesday, 1/25, there will be an additional ban and restricted announcement addressing other formats. And this is where I expect to see the alchemy changes, hopefully more alchemy changes. Excuse me. Can Lurrus get the hell out of Modern? I don't know what it's been doing there for so long, but it's not healthy.
Right.
There's a whole variety of formats people are ready to see changes
Ragavan and
in.
Legacy, Lurrus and Modern are probably the top 2 most talked about.
Now, I think if you see Andrea Mengucci was talking about he feels like, and I saw this tweet earlier, where he feels like Legacy has adapted and that Ragavan is no longer a problem because the metagame has essentially shifted to deal with 1-mana 2/1s on turn 1 or whatever, and isn't quite that much of a problem in terms of percentages like it used to be. And I think there's definitely a line there, right? Of when something can be a problem, as in we see it all the time, it's too much. Sometimes it's annoying, like Sensei's Dividing Top. Sometimes it's oppressive, like Ragavan. But when it's oppressive, it also can mean the metagame just needs to kind of turn around to adjust to this crazy new thing, and it seems to have done that.
Yeah, so something can be busted in a current format or in a current meta, but that doesn't mean that the meta can't shift. And as long as the answers are there, then I would argue then that card possibly doesn't need to be banned if that's the case. It's just kind of like a shifting thing. And that's what the addition of new cards is kind of supposed to do in general. I like that they're talking about that. I don't know. I don't play a bunch of Legacy myself, so I don't know exactly how true this is, but I obviously think that Mengucci knows what the heck he's talking about, so I would believe that.
Yeah, trust the chef. I think that it is possible that even if the metagame adapts, if the metagame shifts so far in a direction as to over-adapt, we saw this with Deathrite Shaman, where there were answers and it maybe wasn't always the best deck, but the changes to the decks and what was good shifted so drastically that they still decided that it was worth getting rid of. Being another 1-drop that has such an oversized impact on the game, I would not be shocked to see it hit the wayside.
Yeah, I mean, you can see the Tron deck. Look how they wrote about the Tron deck in Pauper and how the metagame had not just shifted, but just ran itself around how powerful this stupid deck was, and starting to main deck things for hate for Affinity, main deck things to hate for Tron, because it just got to be too much. So I am definitely excited for all things that are changing, because that makes me happy. As we move out of here from the first pick to gather the townsfolk, thanks to our sponsor, cardhoarder.com. Bring up the slide there. Offering the best inventory prices and delivery of cards for Magic Online. Check out cardhoarder.com. Tell them we sent you. They're great. Unfortunately, some bad news today. Wizards announced, amongst other things this late afternoon, that the Unfinity release date is changing to question marks due to ongoing supply chain complications from challenges associated with COVID-19. They say the release of Unfinity, their 4th unset, originally slated for April 1st, 2022, will be delayed until the second half of the year. Question mark.
Yeah, not shocking. I mean, very sad and surprising.
Sad.
And
And
upsetting,
we talked about it in the pre-show a little bit. You know, they are rumored to be doing things that they've never done before. And I also know that, trust me, man, it ain't getting any easier to be in business, just period, these days, let alone get things, supply chains, producing things on a regular schedule that can be relied upon. Things aren't getting cheaper to do that, particularly if you're shipping things around the world. And I can only imagine if they came to them and they said, look, something's got to give. Well, the Unset just moves on down the road.
I mean, I'm probably going to be the most sad. This was the thing I was the most excited about in, like, let's say 2 years. It was also going to be the first thing I invest in forever. I like all of this. I won, right? Like, I don't really buy product. It's not my thing. Well, it's not true. Some of it Wizards sent me, I guess, right, with the creator packages. Sure. But I was actually going to buy 3 cases of Un. I was very, very excited for it. That said, I don't think that this is super problematic. It's still going to come out, and they're pumping out so many products, I probably won't even notice.
Right. They're releasing a product on April 1st still, the Challenger decks. Yeah. So it's not like there's going to be that big of a gap in the bottom line for Wizards of the Coast. That said, products, ever since Unstable, have rejuvenated the love for the chicanery aspect, right? Like, I get to be 7 again, and I, put my head on a table, and I play a half kitten, half whatever, and I sneak my cheaty face into play, right? Like, you're doing different things when you're playing unsets than you are with Magic the Gathering. So less so a Magic the Gathering product delay as a different type of experience. This is much more in line with the Jumpstart delays, right? Where it's very sad, and it's also a limited print run. It's a specialty product, and the people who this product is for, that's too bad. That said, I'm not terribly surprised we have COVID shipping delays.
And I'm totally fine that if this is what gets pushed back, it's fine. We'll live with it. We'll deal with it. We'll have fun with it when we can. Like, don't mess up the main releases, because let me tell you, like, other large games like Pokemon has been delayed some, and we've seen a little bit of that. I mean, right now, Innistrad Double Feature is supposed to come out like last month sometime, if not late November or something, and we're just getting it next week. So that's a set that's in a really weird spot, and I was talking about that earlier as well, and that, for me, Double Feature, like, just mark my words, y'all. In 5 years, that thing is going to be absolutely ridiculous, because no one likes it. Nobody's excited to play it. It's expensive. Like, it's more costly to buy those from a distributor than the regular old booster box. So they're already pricey. And I think whatever excitement that was going on around Innistrad, Crimson Hunt, Crimson Vow, Midnight Hunt, it's kind of shifted to Kamigawa. I don't really want to go draft double Innistrad stuff right now. Certainly I don't want to put my sort of money into it. I'd rather go put my money into the hot new set that's coming down the line.
I don't understand, just from an Arena draft perspective, they announced that Double Feature will be available on Arena. Now, the whole gimmick of the Unset is the alternate arts. Why the heck would we want to pay more money to draft this if we don't even get those?
Yeah.
Don't you get them? I thought they were going to give them as like card style rewards or something.
The double feature cards?
I don't think they're going to give them, like, when I open the cards, I'm not getting the alters.
Right. I would not expect that per se. Now, we can move on to this, actually. There are Arena announcements here. Double feature draft from January 28th through February 10th, featuring a blend. They're both damn sets, Wizards, Jesus. Plus a Dracula card style that you don't already own for each entry. Okay. And this blah, blah, blah only shows cards in the Dracula style if you own the corresponding card style. Okay. It appears that the awards are just in gems, and you get the regular card style rewards, which is, I guess, a thing. This sounds more like getting the Dracula card styles than it does anything to do with double feature, right? Yeah, right.
Yeah. And you're playing for the gems, right? So
it does. They've raised the stakes here, they say. The entry is 10,000 gold or 1,500 gems or a player draft token. There's 2 rares in every pack. Again, that's why it's more expensive as a set. That'll be interesting. Note the silver screen treatments from tabletop will not appear in MTG Arena, they say. So
weird.
Seems silly. Save it for Kamigawa.
Just seems like weird. I don't know.
I can't imagine wanting to do this once when I could play Kamigawa twice.
Right. I don't know. It seems weird. Again, I guess they had to put it in there somewhere, question mark.
Okay.
That said, a nice little bonus here before we move on here to Desperate Ravings. Gen Con has announced that your pronouns can be added to your Gen Con account profile and printed on your indie badge.
Good.
Which I thought was really cool.
Yeah. Previously, the way that they had handled this was you would get badge ribbons. I'm sure if you've been to a convention, you've seen all manner of ribbons. This person's a Magic the Gathering fan. This person has a VIP pass. This person is known as he, him, or she, her, or they, them, or whatever your pronouns happen to be. Putting it on the physical badge makes all the sense in the world. Particularly within our community. I think that this is something that makes a lot of sense, and I applaud Gen Con for making this change.
Absolutely.
Nice.
And if you can't, and if you can't respect something as simple as pronouns, like, grow up. I don't know what to tell you, man. We gotta move on with your life. And we gotta move on to Desperate Ravings here.
We gotta move on with our life.
That's right. Check out our altar sleeves. Support the show by using the code MAGICMIKES at checkout for 5% off anything in the store, including an exclusive set of sleeves featuring the Magic Mikes crew at altersleeves.com/MagicMikes. And they look a little something. It's been a minute since we actually showed them on screen. They look like that. So if you want to get your own Magic Mike, this is the pre-release stuff that didn't have the glasses on the right way, but regardless.
Right. I can't believe how close to my likeness they got. This is of course I grew a beard out so that I would look less like the altar sleeve.
Yeah, less like that guy. But regardless, you can pick up those and check them out. All right, so Desperate Ravings here. There was a entry being denied for, let's get this young man's name correct here, Milan Bayana.
Yep.
I'm saying that correctly. He tweets here 5 days ago, I qualified for the MOCS, the Magic Online Championship Series, as the youngest player in history and event second in difficulty to only the World Championship itself, and they denied his invitation due to age.
Yep.
How do we feel about that?
Yeah, I mean, that's terribly upsetting. This, of course, we've talked about Milan on the show before. This is the
very
young
similar,
gentleman.
Wasn't it? Like, wouldn't it have something else to do with his age? Am I wrong about this?
Youngest player to ever play on the Pro Tour, or one of the youngest to ever play on the Pro Tour. Also a TikTok celebrity, and also competing on Top Chef, right?
Yep.
Is he the same guy? So we've talked about Milan before.
Yeah. Wow.
And this is a upsetting piece of news. Milan handling it like a champion, of course. But I think that it is, to me, this was gonna, before the Pauper ban announcements, I thought this was gonna be our first pick, honestly, because it seems a little disingenuous to allow people to enter an event and then refuse the prize.
Now,
well, allow is a strong word in that, like, how can they can have guidelines. For example, Twitch has a 14 or over requirement. However, when you put your email in, there's no way for them to verify that.
True.
So, like, kids make Twitch channels, Twitch accounts all the time. That doesn't mean, if they get busted having it or, reported, they don't get their account banned. I'm not saying, I don't know what the laws are in place that prevent children from playing for money or gambling or whatever the case may be, or why they have these age restrictions going into it. But I don't think that they can necessarily stop him from entering.
That's fair. And also, I have not fully read the Magic Online, terms of service.
And whatnot. Well, what I would say is look, Wizards is Magic the Gathering is a very old game compared to even Hearthstone, Fortnite, all that stuff. Been around a long time, all the way back to the Junior Super Series, which was based on scholarships and stuff. And legal is like the most powerful thing in a corporate environment most of the time. You don't question it, you don't argue with it, and if legal said 18 or up only, period, the end, well, that's what legal said, and you're done with the argument right now. Wizards, I know over the years And this is something, that the FIFA people had kind of went through as well, which is, Magic the Gathering packs are the original loot boxes, and FIFA have their own loot boxes. And now everybody got their loot boxes. But again, back in the day, that was new, that was weird, that could be seen as gambling. And so the further Wizards could push themselves away from the big G word, the better. So my guess is that this is grandfathered stuff in. Again, we've seen Fortnite people pay out $1 million for a 13-year-old kid, whatever. But that's because we live in 2020X now and not in the 90s or the early 2000s when this stuff was all very sensitive and things like, multiple legal battles we've never heard about type stuff.
Right.
That, again, when legal said jump, they said how high, and that sounds like where all this came from.
Wizards does have a very, very insane legal system set up with content creators, especially. I have never, even for like paid sponsorships, big time paid sponsorships, some of my best, highest paying sponsorships ever, they're just like, yeah, do the tweet, we don't really care. And Wizards is like, will you stream Arena on the day it launches? We won't pay you. I'm like, sure. And they're like, okay, but you have to disclose. And like, they're like, send me a copy of like what you plan to write. Oh, no. Saying sponsors is not okay. You have to hashtag sponsor, and and then you have to say it's free too. And I'm just like, oh my god.
And you have to like verify with that specifically that you understand it, and like they're
and also this is
serious.
Specifically a Magic Online problem because
that's very
as
old
has
program.
Been pointed out in our chat, we've had Junior Super Series qualifiers, and the JSS back in the day.
Right.
Like 20 years ago, literally. But that's where Gavin Verhey and Ari Lax and a lot of those kind of guys got their starts.
That's right.
Not to mention the fact that Julian Knighton won Worlds when he was 15. Like, there's no larger event. So it is a Magic Online,
it's an online
only problem.
Yeah.
So it seems odd. And the legal details are not going to get hashed out on this program.
Right.
But it just appears strange.
It does. And again, I kind of want to sort of bring it back to, imagine that you work at Wizards of the Coast and you're there and you want to solve a problem. Let's just say you literally have the ability to address this in some way. You know what I mean? You can work on all sorts of stuff. But like trying to get 12-year-old, 13-year-old plus people paid for certain events in the future is just not worth the effort. And if the guidelines say 18 plus, you know what I mean? There's only so many hours in a day. I just don't see how this can change fundamentally because there's no carrot on the end of that stick. You know what I mean? There's no bonus. Wizards ain't making any more money. It's not going to fix this situation. And It's unlikely to happen in the future because this guy's a phenom. This isn't like happening every other tournament or something. You know what I mean? Like,
sure,
this kid's like a miracle. So high five, he's great at Magic, and I'm happy for him. But I also understand how these wheels turn and how they don't turn.
Yeah, I mean, it also doesn't help that Magic is primarily not played by kids his age, especially at the pro levels. Yeah. Whereas, high level. Some other esports are played by people in their late teens, middle teens.
Right.
Being an early 20s person is old at that point. But the good news for Milan is that he's a TikTok celebrity. He could essentially take the model laid out by Kibler Google and turn it into Milan protest. Right. And turn his fan base on it. And then Wizard Legal might be like, now it's not worth it in the other direction. Right. Let's figure it out.
It's become more of a PR problem. Yeah, you can do that, and that will move those wheels.
Right.
I don't know if he can make it happen because, again, legal, man.
Now, I'm not suggesting
when
that
legal
we start the French Revolution on TikTok. I'm not. Don't blame me for this. But I'm just saying it is an option.
You can make noise about things that make you unhappy. Yes. And sometimes that'll move a mountain you didn't think could move. And other times that mountain just ain't moving no matter what you do. So there was a really cool post here about someone who made a custom old school MTG arcade cabinet using the old Magic the Gathering arcade game. The game is terrible. I've played it. I assure you it's bad. I mean, you're starting with a joystick and a trackball right there, y'all. You're two warriors in like an arena, and you're like firing. Okay, this is using Chandelar apparently. I'm wrong. Apologies. There was actually a legitimate arcade Magic the Gathering cabinet, and I have played it. This appears to be a an implementation of Chandelar. But regardless, this is cool. I mean, high five. I think it's neat.
Wild.
I'll take it. You know,
what a weird thing.
Yeah, they said it sold in a Facebook group.
Yeah.
I'm surprised we didn't see more of it, like on floating around Twitter and stuff beforehand.
Well, this is the type of stuff that, you know, you really have to custom make it. And if you were to go beyond anything custom making this, we've just talked about Wizards Legal, right? You'd have a conversation. Right. So moving on here a little bit to some splash damage. I can't not talk about it. Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel is out right now on console and PC. It has multiple features out of the gate that we had to wait a very long time for in Arena, things like friends list or whatever. And someone please correct me. Please correct me and tell me this damn client does not have like 9,000 to 10,000 cards already programmed into it on launch day. It's blowing my mind, because if you try to watch a Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Link stream, if you try to play the damn game, I played it. I learned once again how to play it, and how I'm like, wow, I don't really like this, but it's fine. The whole way it works is extremely complicated. Triggers on top of things on triggers that come back, and other cards that refer to other cards in other zones, and you can special link and you can super link zone summon from another deck. It's wild. How does it have 10,000 cards from day one? We can't get the top 100 in Modern, the top 100 in Pioneer. That would change the client, fundamentally change Arena.
Well,
what happened?
I would argue that possibly Magic is a little bit more difficult to code than Yu-Gi-Oh! I think so. I think the cards and the mechanics are more intricate. But that said, I actually love what they're doing. I know the Pokemon client is coming out soon as well. I hope that lights a fire under Wizards, but to do some stuff, especially in the world of the economy. But I also wanted to note, the new Yu-Gi-Oh! They are crushing it on Twitch. I checked them out several times. They're at 39,000 right now. And I checked them out the day of launch. And not only are they crushing all of the card games, none of the streamers that are streaming it were sponsored. Unlike Wizards, that whenever we have a new release or whatever, we get this like nice little 10K bump in viewership. Right now, they've got 39K and Wizards has 3.3K views total on Twitch right now. And every time that does happen, we have 2K content creators coming over that are just being paid, and then they never come back.
Right.
And there's a reason for that. It's because the viewer base, the game isn't accessible for the average.
Right.
So there aren't enough viewers to go around for the content creators. It's an oversaturated market because of that exclusion. Now, and it's crazy that they're crushing it so hard.
Are we 100% sure they're not sponsored? No.
Well, they legally have to disclose if they're being paid, and that is not happening.
I know.
So whether maybe they're not requiring it and that's super bad and going to get in trouble, but I don't think so.
Yeah, at this time, we can't speculate on that.
What I'm saying is that Michi, who used to work at Wizards, now works for Yu-Gi-Oh!
This was my favorite part about this whole thing.
Well, and she's all about streaming, so I would not be surprised if she had some sort of finger in a pie or whatever. But I think it's cool. Again, it looks cool. It's snappy. It's nice for a game. I guess part of the fact that Wizards or Magic the Gathering has basically the resource system, because Yu-Gi-Oh! Doesn't have like mana. You just do stuff. Everything's just free until you stop doing things. I guess it's easier or something. And again, there's a long history of Yu-Gi-Oh! Games, right? So if those Yu-Gi-Oh! Games are created or ported in such a way that they're compatible, then you can just import in tons of cards instantly that way. I don't know how that works. I just know that my mind was absolutely blown when Wizards acts like they're just tugging the boulder up the mountain to get you 20 new cards in Historic. And they're like, well, we get it, guys. We made Thraben Inspector. You're welcome. And you're like, okay. And then these guys, 10,000 cards.
It's also a gorgeous program. Like, the animations look really good.
Yeah.
It's got a built-in fan base. But I want to go back to my favorite part about this whole release, which was Michi is doing the job that she had at Wizards of the Coast for Magic the Gathering now for the Yu-Gi-Oh! Game.
Yep.
I believe that this was dropped during Arena downtime, specifically.
Really?
If I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure that this was during arena downtime, and I can't imagine that was by accident. And also, one of Mishy's tweets was like, hey, look at how well we're succeeding, and included Magic the Gathering's numbers in the photo that she took.
I did see that.
I didn't know she switched. Incredible shade. Just my favorite type of person. Obviously, we gave her a lot of crap when she was working with Magic, and Magic people are, the worst. But this is like a great clapback at that. This is the kind of Twitter drama that
we're here for. Yeah, we're here for that.
I'm super happy for
Give me
it.
that
and
tea.
I'm super happy for her. It's great.
Yeah, ship me that hot tea when it comes to rubbing it in against various things. I know I've enjoyed that tea myself against previous organizations I may or may not have been a part of.
But the program looks absolutely gorgeous.
And program looks amazing.
And they
really
programmed
does.
in 10K worth of cards in a game that everyone plays combo decks, I assume.
Yeah,
there's no like
Yu-Gi-Oh!
stacks variant.
Right. Yu-Gi-Oh! Is like a 2, maybe turn 4 format of everything. All of it. It's just, I'm going to do my thing. Can you disrupt me? There's cards that let me do things so you can't disrupt me. Bop, kill you.
Sure. Well, we'll see if they can keep it up.
Like everything has haste and trample, but it has reverse trample. So if I try to deal, 1,600 to your 2,000 monster, I get dealt 400 on top of it. So I smash my 1,600 into your 2,000, I get 400 damage. But the trample works both ways. So if I'm bigger, if I'm 2,000 and 1,600, they take 400. So
I blacked out in the middle of you explaining how this game works.
The game's a lot, all right? And the worst part to me, just real quickly, I know I was playing with this on Twitter. It doesn't, the freaking, the tutorial does not explain everything about the game. And it doesn't necessarily have to explain literally everything of everything. But there's a bunch of stuff. I have no idea how Link summoning works. I don't know how special summoning works. I don't know why there's stars on the card. Apparently that's a level, but I don't know what that means.
I can't. I've tried learning Yu-Gi-Oh! And every time somebody's explained it to me, I've just gone cross-eyed in the middle of it. It is
I just don't. Lot. And I've seen turns go on for 10 minutes of people just, okay, we do this and then we bring this in, we summon this person again, do this thing again, trigger this other
I needed
thing.
to have learned Yu-Gi-Oh! At the age that I learned Magic so that I had the patience and the hours with which to obsess over it. Yeah.
And I guess we can't not be a news show on the internet in 2022 and not mention that Microsoft bought Activision.
Yeah.
Bobby Kotick's getting some giant payout barf.
Here's the biggest gaming news in a very long time. I mean,
wow, I did not know that Yu-Gi-Oh! Has 480-second turn clocks. That cracks me up. But makes sense.
So Microsoft now owns Xbox and Blizzard and Candy Crush
and Call of Duty. Yeah,
and Call of Duty. Yeah. Oh, so all of the things that we care about are under one.
It's getting there. Disney, the Disneyfication of your entertainment,
right,
has continued.
If they buy Counter-Strike and
I'll buy Counter-Strike. They have to buy Valve, and that would be a lot.
Then
I don't expect them to buy everything, but they're probably going to buy some more stuff. Will Call of Duty only go on Xbox? I don't know. I felt the biggest thing I learned from that was that there's 25 million subscribers to Xbox Game Pass. That's $10 a month. That means $250 million a month in revenue. Goodness. It also means Microsoft has Hearthstone now. That's a big one. Thank you, Maverick Girl. That is a big deal. So that'll be really fun and interesting too.
Wait, they have
Microsoft technically now Blizzard has Hearthstone because it's Blizzard, Activision.
Yeah.
Microsoft bought Activision.
They bought. Oh.
Yeah, it's everything.
I did not even make the connection to Blizzard.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Right. So now maybe if you're part of the Xbox Game Pass, they'll give you, extra product on the product release or a special promo or something because they want to get you into their subscription service because that's where the money is because it's good, sustained money that doesn't change very much.
I believe the sale is confirmed, Letters. I'm not sure.
The sale has been announced. It's not been officially regulatory approved. It's going to take till next February.
Right. They'd have to go through the antitrust stuff.
It is expected to go through with no problems because money rules everything and ... If they weren't going to stop, what was it? The Bethesda buyout? They wouldn't stop this. So anyway, so let's move on here. turn the corner to the finisher. Pulling up here. I haven't read it. That's what always makes it fun. Danger.
He hasn't read the joke yet.
I never do.
I have so much power. I can make Evan say any combination of words at this point in the show.
Start coming out. I'm like, what is happening?
It's amazing.
The biggest news on social media this week has been the announcement of the When We Were Young Music Festival, scheduled for October 22nd, featuring a who's who of millennial mega acts, headlined by My Chemical Romance and Paramore, and more recently, receiving unkind parallels to the infamous Fyre Fest and other disastrous events. But nostalgia is the name of the game. So tell me, for a future MTG When We Were Young, what act are you hoping to see, Ruben?
Well, if I'm going to shell out more than $200 for a ticket, I want to get my money's worth. So if I'm going to MTG's When We Were Young, I'll be sure to sneak to the front for the set performed by my teen year's favorite, Momentary Blink-182.
Wow. Nerd Girl?
Okay. If I had to choose a comeback to witness, I would be 100% get tickets to see the return of my favorite, the Red Hot Pro Tour qualifiers.
Yeah. I'd like to see PTQ's return too.
Can PTQs come back, please?
You wrote it, so I said.
I mean, I hope he'd like it. Well, look, when I'm looking at the reserve list of performers I'd like to see live, nothing comes to mind before my fave from the mid-2000s, Captain Tickles, swinging in the mosh pit for our team.
That's excellent. Right.
And that ends the live episode of Magic Mics. Thanks for joining us here to discuss all things Magic. Thank you, Nerd Girl.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Thank you, Ruben.
Hey, thank you.
Yeah, we're going to move on here to our final slide. I want to thank our sponsor, CoolStuffInc.com, our co-sponsors, CardHoarder.com and Alter Sleeves, my co-host, Nerd Girl and Ruben Bressler. You guys for watching and listening. Hope you support us at patreon.com/magicmics. Please follow, like, tweet, favorite, share, subscribe to everything social that tells people we exist. Catch us online on our Discord, twitch.tv at Magic Mics, on Twitter at Magic Mics Cast, our Magic Mics subreddit, and like the Magic Mics page on Facebook. But join us here next week, same time, same place, for another episode of Magic Mics. Good night, everybody.